What a time to be alive. We have massive updates regarding the Epstein conspiracy. The lid has been blown off this case. A week after Axios made a report that the Department of Justice was ending their investigation, we're now getting full demands by House of Reps, by the Senate, by political leaders and podcasters alike saying, release the files. And we've now got Magic Mike Johnson being called weak. This after they spent the last several days playing dodgeball and denying attempts to release these files. Well, now Trump's going to release grand jury testimony, which, by the way, isn't exactly releasing the files. So we shared this earlier. Trump said, based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. And she said, President Trump, we are ready to move the court tomorrow to unseal the grand jury transcripts. Oh, F off, Pam Bondi, with your phase 1, phase 2. So what we know, and by the way, the old saying, don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. We know they're only going to give information that is just like little morsels, breaking off a little bit here and there. We don't want grand jury information. We want the whole file. So Sagar shared this. Ron Wyden, who has worked the Epstein case for 3 years, says that the government is sitting on secret bank filings showing some $1.5 billion in suspicious wire transfers by Epstein involving some of the most powerful people in the world. Release those, right? So follow the money. Absolutely follow this money. And amongst other things, see where it leads to. Here we have Representative Stansbury going off, calling Republicans weak to their faces. I mean, you love to see it. She's a great example of why we need more women in political leadership, because they keep receipts and they don't let anything go. God bless the ladies that are holding these men accountable.
Mr. Speaker, you guys are so weak that you won't even vote to release the files. It's 11:20 p.m. in the middle of the night, and
gentlelady will suspend.
The
gentlelady will suspend. The House is not in order.
Agenda through Congress and the dark.
The gentlelady will suspend.
I like it. She kind of like wags her arms like that drunk aunt we all have, and she's like, yeah, "We're not gonna let you get away with this." Good for her.
The House is not in order.
And it makes me wonder, have you even read this bill? I mean, really, because this bill rescinds $9 billion for international aid, public health, and public media. It will make America less safe. It will undermine our national security, and it will threaten lives across the world and kill children. But on top of that, it undermines our Constitution, the power of the people, the power of the purse, and the separation of the power of our Constitution. As Russell Vogt, OMB, and the architects of Project 2025 are trying to use this rescission bill to undermine the power of Congress. And that is why we will vote no, a hell no, to the blatant power grab that it represents in the face of a chaotic and corrupt administration.
Time has expired.
That is stealing from
gentlelady is no longer.
Tell us what you really think. So again, not so much about Epstein, but the overall fact that they continue to vote against what the people want. And listen, I mean, Epstein's one of them. And we have Magic Mike Johnson here. He has the gall to claim that Trump has a 90% approval rating. What are you talking about? His approval rating is the lowest of any president that has ever existed. Period. Full stop.
The president is the most maligned and attacked political figure in the history of American politics. There's no question about it. But he's also the most resilient. And you see at the same time, his approval ratings are skyrocketing. CNN had a story, I think, a day or two ago. He was at 90% approval rating. There's never been a president that high.
No, he was at 90% of his previous low, which means it's lower than that. Okay, so what? I mean, does anybody believe this?
The more that they attack him, the more the American people see through it.
By the way, That's what they want to frame this as, and that has worked in the past. In the past, they've tried to get Trump on words he said and, maybe taking some phrases and spliced them together. Okay, you got me. But it's like, this isn't working. And I can speak on behalf of everybody who's covering this case. This isn't working. This idea that this is just a Democrat hit job, nobody's buying it. In fact, they have the votes. They have enough Republicans that will vote on releasing these files. They won't bring that vote to the floor. Here's Representative Ro Khanna breaking it down.
Speaker, the American people, Republicans, independents, Democrats, want the Epstein files released with the victim's identity protected. Now, most people don't understand how this town works, so I'm going to try to explain this really simply. Congressman Massey and I introduced a bipartisan bill to release all the Epstein files and to make sure victims were protected. There are 10 Republican co-sponsors of that bill, including MAGA stalwarts like Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, including Lauren Boebert, including Tim Burchett. And we have the votes tonight to pass it. But what happened is in the Rules Committee, they don't want to have this vote tonight because they know they're going to lose, because they know their own members want to vote for it. What's even sillier is they had this non-binding resolution. So I thought, surely we would vote on a non-binding resolution. They don't even want to vote on the non-binding resolution in case Donald Trump gets slightly offended. They don't even want the vote on the non-binding resolution tonight. Now, the president is paying attention, not just because his favorite Congressman Thomas Massey is involved. He's paying attention, and he said, okay, let's release. He directs the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, let's release and ask the courts to release the grand jury testimony. Here's the problem. The grand jury testimony is largely about Epstein and Maxwell, not about all the rich and powerful men who abused, assaulted, and abandoned young women. Those people are still being protected. And by the way, the courts usually don't release grand jury testimony. But you know what? The president is hearing the American people. And the president knows that if there's a vote tonight, this body overwhelmingly would vote for the release of the files.
30 seconds.
Additional 30 seconds.
'Cause I need 10 seconds. This question is, whose side are you on?
Wow.
Today, the Democrats are on the side of the people. The Democrats are on the side of the children. There are 10 Republicans who are on the side of the people and the children, but the entire Democratic Party is on that side, and the Republicans have chosen to protect the rich and powerful men who've abused our children. It's wrong, and that's the clear difference tonight.
Yeah. And you know what? I've said this over again. I don't care how many Democrats are on that Epstein list. If they did something wrong, they need to pay for it. And we need to rise up as citizens of this country and stop giving a pass to the rich and powerful. So in this Wall Street Journal letter that came out last night, MAGA bizarrely claims that Trump would never use one word in the Epstein letter, that word being enigma. Everyone said, oh my God, Donald Trump Jr. said, my dad doesn't even talk like this. This is ridiculous. And again, the letter itself there wasn't too much to it. We already knew that Trump had ties to Epstein, and that they had a falling out some 15 years ago or so. But either way, Trump said, I've never used that word enigma. And you better be careful when you say stuff like that on the internet, because the internet will find out. This is from a speech in 2015.
Now, Carson's an enigma to me. I didn't say it.
So again, that was a decade ago where he said, Carson's an enigma to me. And this is also going viral, that enigma is an anagram. It also spells out gamine, which is the definition of a girl who hangs around on the streets, a small, playful, mischievous girl. So was Trump sending codes to Jeffrey Epstein? I've got no idea. But this is the game that QAnon and crazy conspiracy theorists like to play. They like to find information either where it doesn't exist or read between the lines. And this is what happens when you don't give people the truth. It forces people to read between the lines, come to their own conclusions, wonder who's on the list. Why don't we just get that all out there? And the only talking point I've really heard from these Republicans that are voting against transparency is we don't want to re-trigger the victims. Even though they keep saying, we'll redact all the victims' names, we'll make sure there's no public information of the victims. And by the way, what is better than giving some retribution to those victims and putting these powerful men behind bars and making them accountable for the crimes they committed? How many people that previously wanted to file lawsuits but ended up not doing it because they were getting privately threatened and knew they couldn't go up against the crazy legal system and they didn't have the wealth and the money? How many of those people would sleep better at night knowing that years later, the American public stood up for those victims? I think we're all on the right side of this story, except for those that won't let them vote and whatever phone calls they're getting from the rich and the powerful. I don't know. Trust me when I say this. If this wasn't as messy as we believe it to be, they would have released it already. So the longer they wait, the more our country wants to burn those buildings to the ground and force a vote. How dare they treat us with such disregard as if they don't work for us, the American taxpayer? How dare they? So my thought is I'll probably have some extra content for you guys this weekend. If you enjoy what I do, make sure you're subscribed. And if we see a good amount of new folks coming in, we'll keep on making that content because I'm sure there'll be updates. My guess is if Trump wants to, is feeling forced to release this grand jury testimony, which again, probably isn't 10% of what we want to see, they'll probably dump it Friday afternoon. It's what they do. They dump it Friday afternoon so people won't cover it. We'll be up first thing Saturday morning to make sure we cover it if they do just that. So make sure you're subscribed. Well, we like to end every Friday afternoon by telling our boss to go F themselves. Now, what's interesting is we've got a CEO, I don't think he's been fired yet, for that astronomer company who definitely needs to go F himself now that he's ruined his marriage. And I mean, I don't know, will he still date the HR girl? But then we've also got these Republicans that are voting against releasing the information of all of the powerful men who committed crimes against young girls. It's like, who do we tell to go F themselves? I don't even know where to start. Let's start with the Republicans that are keeping this information from being public. Everybody, tell them to go fuck themselves. We'll see you hopefully tomorrow morning. Otherwise on Monday. I'm Dave, and this is The Rush.